Well, I think that we can start. Now. First of all, well, I'm Sonia Liñán. I'm a PhD student and communication and engagement coordinator of the project Cost for Cloud. That it's a project that has organized this workshop. For those unfamiliar with Zoom, you will see a button to open the chat at the bottom of your screen. You can present yourself and you can write your questions there. And if you want to speak out loud, you can open the participants button and there you will see raise hand icon. You can click this raise hand icon and we will see it and we will let you speak when the time is coming. Well, so I think Ali is, okay, so still people joining the webinar. We ask you to rename your Zoom and add your institution if you can, so it will be easy for us to identify each one of the participants. And well, I will be moderating this workshop, so if you have any questions or whatever, you can also write me in the chat. And I think that's all. We are going to record this webinar, but just the presentations part. So all the discussion part is going to be private. We will be rating a piece of news for the Cost for Cloud website, but in YouTube, we will only share the part of the speaker's presentation. So don't be shy and share your opinions, whatever you want, so because we will be not recording you. And that's all. Now I'm going to give the floor to Jaume Piera. I think that he's going to introduce himself and he's going to present this workshop.
Okay, thank you, Sonia. So basically I will try to make a short presentation on the introduction. Okay, so can you see my screen, right? Yes. Okay, so basically what we try to develop here in this session is a satellite activity of one of the Ocean Decade laboratories. During yesterday, today, and tomorrow, there will be this Ocean Decade laboratory called Predict Ocean, and we will address in this satellite activity the idea of the participatory processes in the ocean monitoring, how to engage the society beyond data collection. What we plan to do is basically the idea that the challenge in ocean monitoring basically is that we require data from everywhere and at all the times. And this means that we could, to address this global challenge, we want to engage the people and or the society. But we think that we need to engage the people not only on the data collection by itself, but in all these steps that will facilitate the information, or we will get the information to implement evidence-based policies in coastal and ocean management. So the idea in this workshop is try to answer that question. How, sorry, but it's how to engage people beyond data collection. The kind of questions we want to address are open. I put here a list of the potential ideas or things that we could discuss, but basically is which could be the potential barriers of this participation in terms of technological, cultural, or knowledge-based. What can be the complementary domains in this participation? Could be related to how to influence the environmental governance, how to participate in co-design or co-development exercises, or whichever other aspects you would like to address. The first part of this workshop will be basically an overview of the previous and ongoing experience. And here you have the list of the speakers. I would like first of all thank to all of them to share their time to share also their knowledge. So basically, Josep Luis Pellegrí from the Institute of Marine Science will start with explaining a little which is the idea behind the Ocean Cities Network. Later on, Libby from Australia. She will talk about the Australian coast. After that, Soledad Luna, she will talk about the initiatives around the Vanzi. Luigi Ciccaroni from Earthwatch UK will explain a little bit the experiences in the Capturing Our Coast, a project initiative coordinated by Earthwatch UK. And finally, last but not least, Andrea Coma Posada will talk about the urban beaches, the experiences that we have. During these talks that will be last more or less 10 minutes each, please use the Zoom chat, the one that Sonia mentioned before, to ask questions to the speakers. If we have enough time, we will try to answer those questions just after each talk. But if there are some of them that cannot be answered, we could include it in the further discussion. So, because after these short talks, we will have the second part of the workshop, that there will be 2 breaking rooms for the discussion. The idea is, after these experiences, we will discuss about the questions. I put some of them as an examples at the beginning. There will be 2 breaking rooms. One will be, the discussion will be in English, and we will share a document in which we will exchange or put some of the ideas that will be commented during that discussion. Here there's a link, but don't worry, because we will send the link later on again. So those who they want to participate in the English discussion, they should have or go to that breaking room with that document. And the other one, it will be the discussion will be in Spanish for those people that prefers to use this other language for this discussion. Just to summarize, so we will have in the agenda the overview of the ongoing experiences. We will have a short break, then we will go to these breakout rooms, and finally we will end up all together again to have a plenary discussion to comment some of the ideas that has been appeared during the discussions. There will be the closing remarks, and please, there will be a post-event survey. Probably Sonia will remind you that link later on, but we would like to know your opinion about this satellite activity action. And just to finalize, and because Coast for Cloud is the project that is supporting this satellite event, just mention that this Coast for Cloud, it's a European project. Here you can find the link. And one of the ideas is that the participatory in Coast for Cloud, it's mostly because the people are involved in the co-design of several services around citizens observatories. Those that could be interested on participating in these processes of co-design, we will have several methods to engage you, or at least to connect you. We will repeat all this, but basically we have one Telegram channel in which we have some discussions, and you can fill a form to be, informed for the different events and activities we will have. And also we have these social media channels to follow the project as well. And thank you very much. So with this, I think we have a clear idea about what we will do in the next minutes. And I stop sharing my screen and leave the floor to Sonia again to introduce the rest of the speakers. Thank you.
Hi. I think that there was a mistake in the agenda, my fault, I guess. The first session ends at 1:30, not 12:30, because each one of the speakers will have 10 minutes to present your case. And after that, you will have a questions and answer session, 1 or 2 couple minutes to be able to answer questions. So first of all, I think, yeah. Josep Luis Peregrí is going to start, and he's going to talk about ocean cities. So Josep Luis, you can share your screen.
Thank you very much, Sonia. Let me see if I can do this right. It's always a surprise to do things via platforms. So I hope you are seeing my full screen. Is this correct?
Yes, perfectly. Yeah.
There are a number of things here that hopefully they will disappear, but you only see the PowerPoint. That's correct, no? Is that
correct?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry. Let me see how I have this. This is hiding some of the things I want to say. Okay, so well, thank you for the invitation to the project, Jaume, Sonia, and everybody. It's really a pleasure to be here to have this opportunity to introduce this program that is just starting. So we hope that some of you after today can contribute, and we all together can push this program forward. No? This is a proposal that was submitted in the 15th of January this year to the ocean decade, to the decade of ocean science for sustainable development, on its first call, which was asking for structural programs that will last during the entire decade. So if we contacted a number of research institutions and other partners, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second. And we submitted, ended up submitting this proposal. The proposal was, after several discussions, was evaluated, and the endorsement came on the 8th of June. So it's really just starting. During this first year, we are building we already have a number of objectives, goals that we would like to attain, but we have to implement and build how a guideline how to develop that in the future. No? So this is what we'll hopefully be doing during the next months. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second, but the starting partnership is composed by these 15 research institutions that you see here on the left. Here at ICM, we are the coordinators together with the Unitat de Tecnologia Marina, which is also a partner center here in our building. So, but we are trying to work very collaborative with all these other institutions that you can see here from the map. They span the entire globe. And I'll tell you a little bit about that later, how this is going to hopefully be structured in different secretariats. Aside from these starting research institutions, we have already as a starting partner the Barcelona City Council and two city networks. One is Med Cities. This is a very quite large city network with over 60 cities in the Mediterranean basin. And also the C40, which is many more than 40 cities. That it's a worldwide city, but they have a working group on green ports, on green harbors. No? So they are also going to be working on this. So you can see here from the very start that we are trying to have in each site, each local node, we are trying to have some sort of partnership with the research institution, the harbor, the city council, and we need to involve, and that fits very well in today's workshop, we need to involve the social actors, also all sorts of social actors. So this is the goal, no? To have these local nodes. Let's see if I move forward here. Okay, this is not advancing, right? Okay, now, so this is we are trying to move forward with this idea of putting together these different actors, the research institutions, the harbors, the city councils, and social actors. They are going to be the main element. We try to do this bottom up, really bottom up, making these local nodes, and we are going to try to ensemble them in regional basins. We'll talk about that in a second, and then in a global network. No? So here you see we are based where we will to have this as a very much bottom-up transformative program, and probably one of the main objectives, the main goals of this program is to go beyond the single aspect of knowledge of the urban ocean, and if you want the global ocean, the global single ocean. We want not only to have this perception, this knowledge, but we also hope that we get through these different actors, we get the citizens and the cities themselves to have a different perception and a different relation with the ocean. So we hope that citizens end up having the ocean as part of their knowledge and also their everyday life. And we hope that citizens and the city itself does not feel that the city and their everyday environment ends in a rigid, impermeable coastline. Rather, the contrary. We want this coastline to be as permeable as possible, and we would like that both intellectually and emotionally and sensorially, the coastal ocean becomes part of the cities and the citizens. And this, as you see here already, it's trying to make synergies of a number of elements through these three pillars. One is health, the other is culture and territory, and the other is this sense of global justice based in the ocean as the largest common good that we have all humanity. The objectives of the program are well aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals that state that share blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. So we want these cities that are so important in terms of the impact that they have on the oceans and are also the recipients of so many goods from the oceans. We want them to change this perspective and grow as cities that are, as we were saying, permeable and are in harmony with the ocean. And this we feel has to be done through this combination of mind, so it's knowledge. We have to, in this process, we have to get to know the oceans, and we citizens and all social actors have to get to know the relevance of the ocean for their everyday life. And this has to be attained through a number of sensorial processes, such as art. We can talk about senses, about heart, and then through this combination of mind and art, of mind and senses, we get senses and mind. We go to sentiments, to senses plus mind. This makes a sentiment. That is this awareness, this consciousness, that we have to work such that this awareness, this consciousness becomes permanent. It's not just a law of one day. So it stays with you for your entire life. So this has to be attained through everyday works. So this is a process that we have to do together, and I'm already finishing. So we have these three pillars. We hope to reach some short-term outcomes. The project will build from these local nodes into these secretariats and globally. But what we want everybody to hopefully to get involved. We hope to get some support locally, but also from the UN, and hope to have these long-term outcomes and impacts of engagement, with the citizens and the stakeholders. And just this is the last slide. This is a little bit of the organization that is set up. You saw that we had these research institutions. They will represent the local nodes for these 8 secretariats that we have here. Each of these regional secretariats with a number of local nodes will be working under these 3 pillars. Hopefully we'll starting very soon, probably this fall already, there will be one very first call of actions that will be endorsed by the program, and we'll have hopefully a little bit of money from the UN to fund this very first program. But the short-term goal is that next year we'll be able, together with the UN and all participants, will be able to set some very clear objectives and a very clear programmatic path to reach those objectives. So we can launch a number of calls, and these calls will support institutions to reach these objectives, always trying to have institutions talk to each other, try to share their experience, try to learn from each other, and that's, I think that's all. Also, if you have any questions, I'll be most happy. But again, I insist that this is just the starting. I think this is the last slide. Sorry. So you have we have our contact person. He is Vanessa Salvo. He is today with us, and he'll be in the workshop later. You can contact her at this email. We will have this this web page starting next month, and we look forward to more institutions, more associations, and more local nodes to develop. No? So any association or research institution that wills to be part of this from the very start, we are just setting up. Please let us know, and we'll work with you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Joseph Luis. A very promising beginning. I'm sure that we will see. We will hear about that in the future. And I'm going to ask one of my colleagues, Angela, to write the mail of Vanessa Salvo in the chat, so you can copy it and send her an email wherever you want. I think that there is no questions. I don't know. Last opportunity to ask. No. So let's move to the next speaker. So Libby Headphone from Australian Coast. You can share your screen now. Perfect.
Thank you. And thank you everybody for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here with you all. I've been asked to talk about citizen science from an Australian viewpoint. And if we're talking about marine coastal citizen science, I think you need to just remind yourself that Australia has a lot of coast. In terms of citizen science, it seems to me the most important thing that we need to do is to find the sweet spot, the nexus between what interests people and what interests scientists. And I've been working in citizen science for over 20 years now, at a local level and at a national and international level. And it seems to me that all the best, the most productive projects are the ones where the scientists and the citizens agree together that what they're studying is important. So Australia's got 50,000 kilometers of coastline. It's quite big, and 10,000 beaches, and 2 people per square kilometer. I don't know how that compares with anywhere else, but gives you some idea. And nearly everybody lives near the sea. So there's lots of coastline and not many people. So in terms of science and the coastline, then it's a big issue. And I decided to choose just a few projects to talk to you about. And obviously, one of our greatest assets and one of our greatest issues is the Great Barrier Reef. And that's 2,300 kilometers long. So in terms of seeing what's there, knowing what's there, and knowing how things are changing, then it's huge. And however many scientists you've got, you can't do that on your own. So I've 1 or 2 projects. This is the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority, which is the government agency that looks after this. And they've got a number of citizen science projects. And in this one, you can see that they run structured surveys with citizen scientists on a regular basis to a globally standardized methodology. But they also recognize that there are lots of people who come to visit the reef. So in terms of the reef check, they have a part of the citizen science project, which allows people to record what they see on an ad hoc basis. And this is another project that we have here, way beyond data collection. And these people are working and are working seriously over long periods of time. And they're actually rebuilding the reef in a very small way. They've created metal structures, and they've put corals on there, which they've been grown in some coral farming situation, and they put these out where there's been damage to the reef, either through storms or through bleaching methods. And this is a very popular project with people. Now on to another organization. This is the Barrier Reef Foundation, which is not a government agency. But it was given nearly $500 million by the government a few years ago when they were trying to stop the reef being categorized as endangered. So they've got all sorts of different kinds of citizen science projects. And I actually worked with them to do their first BioBlitz up in Queensland, in the area a few years ago. But this particular project is with our First Nations people. It's been recognized a lot that the First Nations people have a very particular relationship and stewardship with the land and the sea. And this project is about working with them on citizen science, but also developing participation in governance, capacity building, and protection activities, which is a really meaningful project. Where are we? And the last one, this is Earthwatch, but I know we've got Luigi here, but this is Earthwatch Australia, which is very different from Earthwatch Europe. They do great things. And again, I've only picked up one group of projects here, again, because it's on this sort of coastline. And they run a number of projects with people to do with wetland management, mangrove forests, and education about monitoring tidal wetland monitoring methods. So it's things are becoming much more sophisticated here in terms of the way they work. But the project I'd like you to look at is this Wetlands Not Wastelands project, which is up in the Gulf of Carpentaria. And it's based on the circular economy. And it's about collecting marine debris, but there's also recycling plants there and developing wetland management plans. And if you look at the people who are involved in that, it's a Plastic Collective, which is a charity, it's Coca-Cola. And it's the Carpentaria Land Council Aboriginal Corporation. So there's a real collaboration of people and a real range of things that they're doing, which makes it a very rich and important project, I think. And this is one of Australia's oldest and its strongest citizen science project. This is Tangaroa Blue, that's been going for 17 years. So if you're looking for engagement over the long term, then obviously this is the way they're doing it works. Nearly 3,000 cleanup sites, over 1,000 tons of litter removed. But they've got a saying that if all you do is clean it up, then that's all you'll ever do and you'll keep doing it. So they put all the records onto the database. They analyze all the different kinds of things. They've got over 12 million records on their database. And they look at barcodes and branding, 27 different sorts of plastics. And through these, they've developed a huge amount of information and understanding of the going back to the source for marine debris and being able to do things about it. And it's one of the very few projects citizen science projects in Australia that actually contributes to national SDG reporting. And this is just a little case study from them. They found in one place, they found all these bottles that they didn't recognize, and they tracked them back to the source. And they passed the information on to the Australian Border Force, who then used ocean modeling to define a search area in the Coral Sea. And they found a fleet of illegal fishing vessels from Vietnam. So there's a nice little circular story there that I wanted to share. But going from the big projects down to the local ones, my project has a region of Australia, and we do biodiversity mapping over all the different species. But my interest is very much in the marine environment. So that's what I focus on. And finding the sweet spot for us, there's a couple of things here. Now, I don't know how many of you are interested in nudibranchs and sea slugs, but as most of you are involved in the marine environment, I wouldn't be surprised at all if there aren't some nudibranch obsessives out there, because once you start looking at them, they are the most amazing things. And this is just a little selection from our database. But every year we join the sea slug census in Australia. And this was set up by Professor Steve Smith, and he did it because he thought it would be interesting and didn't really have much thought of where it might go to. But more and more people got interested, and more people joined it. And what he realized was that there are lots and lots of undescribed species, and there's very few records. So it's one of the things that if people like following them, then you can get an awful lot of information. But he, as a scientist, has also recognized that they have enormous potential as environmental sentinels. And so that if you're surveying nudibranchs, you're not only surveying nudibranchs, but you're actually getting information that can be used in climate change and other environmental issues in the marine environment. So it's a really important thing. So we have here, sorry about it's one of those silly slides he made up, but over 2,000 people involved, and we've recorded so far 762 species from 14 different sites. These are only the East Australian ones. And now I think there are more around Australia and also in other places, because people are interested internationally. And they're from 70 surveys. And just from the work that we've done, more than 60 species range extensions have been recorded. And I'm very proud, because this little one down here on the right was one that I found 100 kilometers further south than it had ever been recorded before. So I'm very proud of that one myself. But this is a project that I want to challenge you with, because Steve Smith is saying that he would like to see if there are people interested in collaborating to make it a global project. And sea slugs and nudibranchs are found all over the world, all over the oceans. And it is this particular sweet spot of people being fascinated by the creatures, but by doing the science and being involved in it, the science can tell us a lot more than just the biodiversity mapping that you get from it. So bear this one in mind. And here's another one. Now this is one project that we're only just starting down here in New South Wales. The lady on the top left-hand corner, she's Minka, and she's one of our young enthusiastic snorkelers. And you see Tarthra Wharf here. This is a beautiful heritage wharf. And when she found that they were going to renovate it and restore all the pilings, she was very worried about all the biodiversity that are on the pilings and the fact that they would be destroyed or damaged or whatever. And so she wrote to all the people she could think of and said, what's going to happen and what should we do about it? We all came together, and now with the local council and the heritage people, we put a project together, a community project to monitor the wharf before, during, and after the renovations. And we've got a scientist who runs cygnethid hotels, because there are cygnethids here on the wharf pilings, and they'll need to be protected while things are going on. And he can do that. He's done that in other places. So we've got this project that's developing here, and we've just got a new, just developed a logo for it down here on the right. Sorry. But it seems to me that this project in itself, having thought about it and having thought about what it is that we've got here, has a huge potential. And I think for a global community project. It was a community that inspired it and set it up. And it's local knowledge and interests which gives ownership to it. And there'll be serious capacity building through the life of the project. And it will be long-term biodiversity monitoring of this place. And we've got already thought about additional options of things like using data loggers, webcams, possibly working with satellite information to enrich the project. But it seems to me that there's a possibility of a global network. If we can do this in Tathra and people like this wharf and they look at it, then thinking about wharves all around Australia or even all around the world, they are static marine laboratories. They are places that stay there and people can go and visit on a regular basis. They don't move about. And it seems to me that we could set up a global network of citizen science marine climate change monitoring points at wharves all around the world. So my challenge to everybody at this meeting and anybody that you know outside the meeting that might be interested is, what valuable science can we do with this? What more can we do? I mean, biodiversity monitoring in a place like this is magnificent enough in itself, but how could we enrich this to do better science? And is there any interest, might there be any interest from scientists and institutions to co-create something here? I'll leave that with you all, and thank you very much for your interest. And here's a few references for you. And well, thank you. And any questions?
Thank you very much, Libby. Really very, very interesting, because I think that you have been able to cover all the aspects of the citizen science and a lot of people involved. And I was wondering, for example, in the Reef building project, where people were starting to rebuild I'm sorry, the reef with these metal structures, were they involved in the decision-making process? So they will be able to decide, okay, we are going to use these materials and not other ones. And I don't know if the citizens are involved in this kind of decisions, or they are just participating, helping the scientists to do the job. And if they are involved in the decision making, how they have been able to decide that? I don't know if you know about. I'm thinking about this project, but it can be applied in any project.
Well, as I say, I've shown you a mixture of projects here, that some which are top down and there's some which are engaging the community all the way through. And I don't know about this one. I can find out for you. I can find out what that one is, but I don't know, but it's possible that the projects that are run by the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority are more likely to be top down than bottom up, because it's a big institution. But I may be doing them a grave injustice there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, thank you, Libby, very much. Just another question, because I know that we have very short time, but I was wondering if because it's fascinating, but I was wondering if you could provide more details about Aboriginal knowledge in terms of, are several people involved in citizen science in terms of knowledge transfer, all the knowledge from the Aboriginals, I don't know, on the seaweed use, for example, or things like that?
It's a very interesting and long-term issue, because within the Aboriginal communities, then the knowledge is held within the group. And there's a huge distrust of authority. I wonder why, but there's a huge distrust of authority. And gradually, we're working more and more with Aboriginal groups, doing things and doing as much as we can with them, going as far as they will allow us to help them to engage in different ways. And certainly there are projects, CSIROs leading projects to do with working with Aboriginal people. And I know there in lots of different areas in Australia, they're beginning to make projects where the Aboriginal knowledge is collected, but it's not necessarily made available to everybody. And having that information there in their repository for themselves, for their own people, going through generations, is also, they're recognizing that that's important. So there's a lot of work happening with that at a very slow pace because of lack of trust, and trust is a big issue in all of these things.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Libby. I'm going to go to the next speaker, Soledad Luna. She's going to talk about WMC. So Soledad, you can share your screen.
Thank you, Sonia. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. So thank you. Hello with everybody, and thank you for inviting me to present a little bit of what is done in the Vanzi. The Vanzi is one of the largest unbroken stretch of sand and mudfloods ecosystems in the world. It's a very high productive ecosystem, and it holds an important diversity of plants and animals. And this high productivity makes the Vanzi also a key stopover for millions of migratory birds. And it's also very important for birds as a wintering area and as a breeding area. We have in the Vanzi 10 million touristic visitors per year. That is a high number. And in the area live a little bit less than 4 million people in the mainland and in the islands. The Vanzi is in the southern North Sea in Northwest Europe, and it is a natural World Heritage Site shared by Denmark, Germany, and the Netherlands. The Trilateral Vanzi is governed by the Trilateral Vanzi Corporation, and the institution where I work, the Common Vanzi Secretariat, supports the coordination of activities in the cooperation, and we also act as an information hub. And part of the interesting things of working in a transnational area, but is also a challenging thing, is that here we have 3 languages, 3 different cultures, or even 5 if you consider the 3 federal states in Germany. And we have then also 5 different monitoring responsibilities. The data coming from each of the parties fit into one of what is one of the pillars of our trilateral cooperation, the Trilateral Monitoring and Assessment Program, the TMAP. The TMAP is in line with our trilaterally agreed ecological and conservation targets and policies. And with this information and other additional information, experts produce periodic quality status reports. And this range in a broad range of topics, such as geomorphology, ecological processes, wildlife, and also human activities. Also, citizen science, data, and volunteers contribute to the TMAP and to the quality status report, and in that way also to our common targets. And here I want to tell you 2 examples with different levels of contribution. The first example is the Vanzi Flyway initiative. The Vanzi belongs to a large network of sites that birds depend on in their yearly migratory routes. And the Vanzi Flyway initiative aims to strengthen cooperation on management and research activities with other sites, and especially with the East Atlantic Flyway. Here, over 12,000 volunteers have been trained in over 30 countries, and they are the ones conducting annual sample counts, and every 3 years we have a big total count. And with these reports and assessments are produced at the Flyway level. And one key aspect of this is the international collaboration that we have, especially with the Wetlands International. And this institution is the one who coordinates the International Water Bird Census, the IWC, which is one of the largest and longest running monitoring programs in the world. And all this happens under the Agreement on the Conservation of African Eurasian Migratory Water Birds, the AIWA, which is an intergovernmental treaty developed under the framework of the Convention for Migratory Species. This key collaboration also takes place at the local level. And this, of course, eases that citizens participate in these efforts. And these initiatives have a strong focus in education and outreach, integrating the local cultures. In the Vanzi, these monitoring and education initiatives are coordinated by SOVON, which is the Dutch Ornithological Association, by the Common Vanzi Secretariat, and in close coordination with BirdLife International and Wetlands International. All these data feed again into the Trilateral Monitoring and Assessment Program. These data are used to produce the quality status reports, and the recommendations that that result in these reports are then given to the trilateral ministries in the cooperation. And these are used to review policies or to make new policies for management. The second example that I want to share with you is the Beach Explorer. This is an initiative driven by the Schutzstation Watmeer. This is a long-standing NGO in the area. And this is a platform used to collect, to register information about everything that you can find stranded on the beach. The key aspect in the Beach Explorer is that it is in the 4 languages, also the 3 languages of the cooperation and our official language, English. It keeps people informed, producing news. It has been mainly used for educational purposes, but it has also contributed to scientific findings for showing shifts in spatial and temporal distribution of species. It has also been very useful to identify new non-indigenous species or new reports of species there, and to use as a platform for special campaigns. And I just checked after Libby's presentation, and we do have in the Beach Explorer some very tiny sea slugs registered. So that could be a nice way to collaborate, as you were challenging us to. Data from the Beach Explorer have also been used in scientific publications to report on invasion of non-indigenous species like the Manila carpet shell, and also changes in crabs population due to climate change. Research initiatives have also asked to use the Beach Explorer to record their findings in plastic catches with manta trawl, for example. And very, very important, park rangers use the Beach Explorer for local campaigns. And the park rangers are, as was also said before, very important in this system because they are the link. They are a very strong and important link between the national park organizations and management and the local population and visitors. Beach Explorer has also been used to produce real-time records and information about different events. One example is mass mortality of white-fronted geese. So in summary, we have these two examples. The first, the Vanzi Flyway initiative that involves trained volunteers. The information produced here feeds directly into the official trilateral monitoring and reporting, and it benefits from official international agreements and censuses. It focuses on capacity building and education, and these materials also go directly into another structure, the International Valencia School. And with this information, we produce, not only we, but along the region, evidence-based information is produced that is very strong to influence policies, and especially in the face of climate change. The Beach Explorer is used by the public in general. It brings additional information to the official trilateral monitoring and reporting. It has a flexible use, inviting in that way different groups of society to use it for their projects. And it has promoted something that sometimes we miss also because of the different languages, which is a trilateral exchange. And in this case, especially about data on strandings on beaches, and information materials produced in this initiative also go to our International Vanzi School. The main challenges that we've encountered to go beyond data collection is that in the Vanzi, there are many citizen science projects and many are very local. We don't have a complete overview of what is happening and where is the information going. And that links to the next challenge, which is that we treat the Vanzi as one Vanzi, one ecosystem that we need to take care of. So it would be very useful to broaden the local view to a trilateral view, and even more to a regional view in the case of the flyways, to produce information that can be stronger at a global level. And the final challenge is also connected to the two above, is how do we integrate the information produced in citizen science to the official monitoring and reporting systems? Now, if we don't have access to this information, or if it's not accepted, it's difficult to integrate it. On the other hand, when we have it, it's incredible. It can bring great benefits. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Soledad. I think there is a question for you. Juan Felipe is asking if you could please extend the concept of the Valencia School. I don't know.
The Valencia School. Yes, we can also share the website from the Vanzi School, which is part
Perfect.
of our website. And this is a network of organizations that conduct educational initiatives in the 3 countries, in Denmark, the Netherlands, and Germany. So they produce materials for schools, but also for the general public in the 3 or 4 languages. So it has been a great platform for exchange of information and for the schools that just want to access information or have something for in their pensum. They can directly download information from there. And of course, this is backed by a trilateral group that you can also contact and ask for more information or support.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sonia, may I have a question if there is?
Yeah, we are we are behind time, but go, don't worry.
No, Sonia, thank you very much. I was wondering because you mentioned the 3 and you mentioned the 4 language, but I was wondering if there is any initiative in trying to recover or to enhance the knowledge of the Frisian culture. Because I know there are Frisian speakers both in Denmark and in some islands. I was wondering by curiosity, I know this is a very small community, but is there any initiative on citizen science related to that or not?
Not to my knowledge. There might be something which would be great, especially to work with the fishermen who are using the Frisian language to communicate when they don't want us to understand what's happening. Yeah, that would be great to do. I can explore and let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So no, I'm sorry, but we don't have time for more questions. So I'm going to give the floor to Luigi Zaccaroni. He's going to talk about capturing our coast. So Luigi.
Thank you. Let me try to share my screen. Okay, I hope that you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks, Jauma, and thanks, Fesik, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. Also, I see a lot of familiar faces around. So, hi, everyone. Today, I will present a project called Capturing Our Coast that Earthwatch participated in recent years. So the project ran actively between 2015 and 2018, was funded by a lottery fund and included the partners that you can see on the slide. So it's a UK project, and its general objectives were to train and support participants to identify and quantify the abundance and distribution of marine species on the national scale, in particular the UK national scale. And also to support them to participate in studies that address key ecological questions with the aim to inform policy, conservation, and science. So of course, this project, as most citizen science projects, has a lot of data collection in it, but I'll try to focus the presentation on other aspects that are not the data collection ones. So the specific objectives of the project were to facilitate the public to contribute to evidence gathering in meaningful ways, to upskill both the marine professionals and the general public to raise awareness and understanding of some of the marine environmental issues, and of course, to produce measurably robust data that contribute to marine conservation, science, and policy. In the project, there were 7 specific training hubs, but the project was active in a lot of places. There were almost 2,000 places where participants were collecting data and using, let's say, the knowledge that they gathered in the training. And at Earthwatch, yeah, I didn't introduce myself, but I'm Luigi Ceccaroni, and I'm a scientist of Earthwatch in Oxford, so another branch. Libby was mentioning our office in Australia. This is our UK office. And the training that was carried out in these hubs was mainly on 3 topics: invasive alien species, rocky shore ecology, and policy relevant data. So because we were kind of the coordinating organization, I would like to highlight elements of our role. This is important because I think that most of the people on online now are or have been coordinators, and they have a role that is not really the role of the participant, but it's also the role of the person that has to organize all the activities. So let's say if we see this from the point of view of the coordinator, let me just go on the roles that we had so that you can understand better what is behind all these elements that go beyond data collection, all the engagement, awareness raising. So to do that, you need to have a body, an organization that does a lot of things behind the scenes to make the rest of the participation possible. So for example, what we did was to coordinate the participant engagement and the management at the national level, ensuring a consistent approach in quality control across hubs, to advise on best practice for field activities. So you see this standardization of approaches so that data are collected in a homogeneous way. To assist the recruitment of participants. Participants are not coming out of nowhere. They are not falling out of the sky. You need to recruit them, and you need to have a strategy for that. So we were working on as I said, standardizing both the training and the field experience to produce national communications among participants, to enhance knowledge sharing among the hubs, and also to support monitoring and impact evaluation. So all these roles, all these elements needs to be there to be able to have a successful project. So of course, there were methods in the project to collect data. I will not go into details, but as you can imagine, we had formal methods for surveys. And as an example of results, the project could document that the species recovery rate from disturbance. So there were species that were studied, that were monitored. In particular, 160 invasive alien species were recorded around the UK coast, and other species that were more fragile. We studied elements of disturbance and how the species were recovering after these events. And we saw that this recovery varies significantly between shores, suggesting that the environmental conditions for example, the wave exposure, are important in determining this recovery rate. But also an important result was precisely the strong engagement and satisfaction of participants. And about that, I have here a few sentences that I think capture well the spirit of the project in terms of engagement, satisfaction, and awareness. So let me read quickly these statements. Capturing our cost has given me lively learning, new exciting experiences, challenges both physical and intellectual, youthful company, and the taste of university with the delve deeper course. Because in the training thing, there were different courses about different elements. Another participant said, volunteering for co-cost has really made me appreciate what a dynamic environment the coast is and how it changes from day to day, yet alone season to season. Another one was saying, volunteering with Capturing Our Coast has given me the confidence, knowledge, and context to participate in this valuable research and to appreciate just how diverse, extraordinary, and fragile our marine life is. And finally, a fourth one said, I accidentally came across co-cost in Portsmouth Cathedral last July, and after attending a training day, I set to work surveying around Langstone Harbor. I started with Wreck Your Brain, another training course, surveying seaweeds, and have not stopped filling my brain with the wonders of marine life. Equally importantly, it has been a delight to meet like-minded volunteers and inspirational staff. Co-cost has made it enjoyable to learn about marine biodiversity, and I'm inspired to continue studying it. So you can see, you can feel from this witnessing statement the kind of impact that a citizen science project can have beyond the data that are collected on, let's say, the changing the behavior, changing the attitude of the people involved. So finally, as a legacy of the project, let's say that just a few numbers. So we trained 3,000 participants. We collected 200,000 data points. We engaged through media 2 million people, and we were active in 1,800 locations. A few papers, of course, have been published. You have just a couple of examples here. But maybe most importantly, an app is there, is still there, is active, can be used. It's called Cost Explore. And yeah, that's the app that was used to capture data and can still be used. It's still maintained. And yeah, that's it. That's Capturing Our Coast as an example of a project that goes a little bit beyond just capturing data. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luigi. I think that there is no questions. I don't know if anyone want to ask something. No? So, yeah, Jaume.
Maybe Sonia, yeah. Just by curiosity, Luigi, do you know if this app it's open in the sense it's open source app or it's closed, it's licensed somehow?
Well, let's say that it's free. It's free, of course, to download and use. I was not involved in the development. I mean, it was not developed by Earthwatch, so I'm not sure about the code. I'm not sure if it's kind of open source or not. It was developed by a university, so it could be, but I'm not sure. Okay. So I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Luigi. So now it's time for Andrea Kumaposada. She's going to talk about monitoring urban beaches.
Okay, thank you, Sonia. I try to share my screen. Sorry, can you see the screen?
Yes, but not in presentation mode.
Okay. Now? Now
Yes.
it's good?
No,
yes.
But now.
Now, perfect.
Now, yes, perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. And thank you, Jama, and all the equip. And my name is Andrea. I am the CEO of Analized Serveis Ambientals Marins, and I'm talking about the Urbamar, a citizen science project in Barcelona coast. But first of all, I explain really quickly what is Analized, okay? Analized is an organization, and we work to promote the marine conservation through education and communication. And we have different services about education services. For example, we have activities in schools, families workshops, and also children's workshops. And we also work in leisure time with summer camps and communication projects and training courses specialized in marine subjects. And also we have consultancy services where we give advices and guidance to companies and schools and universities. And finally, inside Analized, we run our own citizen science projects. We have 2 citizen science projects, Posidonia Activa and Urbamar Bio, and now we are focused on Urbamar Bio. Urbamar is a citizen science project to investigate hand in hand with citizens all the marine biodiversity of the Barcelona's coast. The mission of this project is to show to all the people the whole biodiversity in the Barcelona's coast. And we start on 2016 when we start also Analized. And in this project, what is the reason of this project? The reason is to show to all the people how kind of biodiversity can you find in an urban coast. And also in this project, we try to go with the people to trying to doing snorkeling sessions when we also give and offer all the material, all the underwater material, like fins, masks, neoprenes, and underwater camera. And all the people that come with us take photos around the different beaches of Barcelona and Badalona and Sant Adrià del Besòs, and also take photos to upload to Natosfera. Natosfera is the platform to allow us recover and share all the biodiversity of the nature. And in this case, we have a project in the Natosfera platform. The project is Urbamar and the marine biodiversity of the Barcelonès, and all the people that have taken all the photos in our snorkeling sessions then can upload all the observations in the platform, in this platform, like fishes, urchins, starfish, a lot. And then we start in 2016, but now we have almost 7,000 observations because we start with few people and now we are 200 people involved in this project. And we also have more than 1,600 species reported in Barcelona, in Badalona, and Sant Adrià del Besòs. And then this is the top 10 of the species that you can see when you go with us to do an snorkeling. For example, you can see in this top 10, you can see pelagic fish, for example, Sarpa or Oblada. And you also can see archings like Parablenius lividus is one of the archings that you can see more in the rocks. And also Parablenius filicornis or fishes like bentonic fishes that you can see in the rocks. This is the typical, the most number observation that you can see in the Barcelonese coast. And also Corygiulis and Thalassoma pavo. And also Urbamar is good to study and report all the biodiversity and focus on, for example, on non-native species that we can find, and we find 17 species, non-native species, and also 2 tree-net. It's good to do this kind of project, of citizen science project, to understand how it happened in the Barcelonese coast. And the result of this project, the most important result of this project is the participatory guide. And the most important reason here is that when Anelidas mobilized all the volunteers to do snorkeling, but we have the support of Institut de Ciències del Mar that we allows and help us to register and to identify all the species. And then with all the species that we have, we create and publish the participatory guide of marine organisms on the beach of Barcelona. This is a book that you can find in our website. You can see in this book more than 200 species of the Barcelonese coast, and is the most important result of this work because we worked hard 4 years ago, but now we have this book, and the book is the participatory with the photos, with all the photos that you can see in this book. It's not only Jaume or Andrea or no, everyone allows and helps us to publish this book, and we are really proud of this book. And also we are showing the photos in the exhibition. We have an exhibition of Urbamar now in different centers, in different equipments, and also the guide. And that's all. This is Urbamar, is a project that have continuity in the years, and we are so proud of this. And thank you so much to be there. And if you can contact us to ask me some questions about the project, about Urbamar or about Anelidas, you can see here my contact. And thank you so much, Sonia, Jaume.
Thank you, Andrea. There is a question for you.
Okay.
Juan Felipe is asking if you can tell us a little bit more on how you make the marketing of the Anelidas activities portfolio to the public in the city of Barcelona and surroundings. Oh.
How?
Yeah, how are you doing? If on what periodicity? Are there agreements with the local schools and public groups?
Yes, normal. We work with different schools, but the first we offer all the activities and all the workshops in the website and also in the social media. We have a lot of social media, and we transmit all the values of the sea in social media and website. And also we have different communication campaigns with different tools to do a communication, or for example to speak with different teachers is good. And we involve to teachers in Urbamar because it's easy, but it's really important. And it's like this. It's like website, social media, and also talking with the other people.
Okay, great. Thanks, Andrea. I don't know if there is more questions. If not,
I would have a question,
yes.
but I was too slow writing in the chat.
Don't worry.
I just wanted to ask Andrea if you are in contact with other similar projects in the Mediterranean, because your project could contribute to results on the status of the Mediterranean.
Yes, not yet, really. We won't, because we need to expand, but not yet because it's a local project. This Urbamar is local, and then we want to talk with, for example, Italian people with another project, but we don't have any relationship now.
Soledad, maybe I'm trying to answer a bit. I don't know if Jose Luis is there or Vanessa, but part of the idea of these ocean cities could be the extension of this concept that we have developed very locally in Barcelona to be applied later on many other urban areas around the world. Because yeah, the methodology is there. Probably the experiences, I think, were quite good. Obviously, we could improve a little bit in terms of engagement and the number of people involved. But nevertheless, I think the ocean cities may provide a very good framework to expand this initiative all over the world.
Yes, if I may, thank you, Jaume, for introducing this. Indeed, it's one of the points of the program to create this network around the ocean sea to support also protocol, methodology, and all best practice that we have. Indeed, this is, I keep the opportunity to promote another workshop that we are going to have the next week in the 22nd of September, together with the ocean best practice systems. And there we are going to discuss how to share, how to create a kind of library of all the experience, methodology, and best practices that we are able to gather during the whole 10 years of the program, and how to share around the world, because the program it's worldwide, so include all the continents. So it could be a good idea if some of you could be, the participation is for free. So it could be part, because after like more or less similar to this workshop, showcase of some experience of our partner, we start with the discussions. And one of the discussion, it will be how we are going to build up this big, huge library of the experience, how we could share information and make replication of all the project and proposal that we have. So I will send all the communication to Jaume. Jaume is part of the program, so it will be no problem. And he will share with you directly the invitation for the next workshop. But yes, totally yes.
Perfect. Well, Juan Felfe also says that Cartagena de Indias will be more than happy to start a pilot. So some promising connections today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting concept. Very, very interesting.
Well, now, since we are really, we are really on time, I think we can have a 10 minutes break. So see you in 10 minutes at 1:35, and then we will start the breakout rooms. Okay, so see you in a bit.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.